Good evening, everyone. Good morning, sir. Thanks for joining uh, us in the early morning.
Good evening, good
So,
evening.
I would like to give a brief intro about today's speaker. So, today,
Mhm.
Dr. Atul is our speaker. He's speaking from USA, from University of Connecticut, and he's pursuing his PhD in animal science, and where he's majorly working on the poultry microbiology, and he has done his master's from NDRI in animal physiology, and he has completed his bachelor's from MAFSU Nagpur. The university is MAFSU Nagpur, the college is Bombay Veterinary College. So he would be giving us some insightful inputs from his experience, what he had been gone through during this process of admission and how he has been tackling up the whole situation. So let it over to Bill, sir. Sir, you can continue.
Okay, Shubham. So I was just waiting for your signal, and thank you for the brief introduction. I already have it in my presentation, but still I'll continue with that. And I hope everyone had a wonderful evening, a wonderful weekend back in India. So let's begin. Let me just upload my present screen. This is new for me. Over here we use Teams and yeah, just Teams. So let's see how it goes. Share. Okay, so this is like Zoom. Okay, so everybody can see my presentation.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
It's visible, right? Okay. Okay, then just few more minutes. Yeah. So graduate education in states over here is quite different. So before me, there were many speakers from Canada and from other um, countries who have done their education, their PhD or their masters abroad. So they must have talked quite in detail. And by now, since I am the last speaker, you might have got a very big idea of how the education abroad differs from the education system in India specifically. The veterinary education, the higher veterinary education. So I'll be much more concentrating on the graduate education, that is a master's and the doctoral program in the America over here. And what's the how we can, how the students, the veterinary students in India can get motivated to apply over here, and what's the process, and after getting an admit, what things we should be considering, to be successful in our doctoral program. So, yeah, about me, I'm a graduate research assistant in the Department of Animal Science, University of Connecticut. So, Animal Science Department comes under the College of Agriculture. So, the my journey began at MAFSU, which Shubham rightfully said. MAFSU is my undergrad parent university, but my college was the Bombay Veterinary College. Now it's called the Mumbai Veterinary College. Over here, I did my b.v.sc in age for 5 years, and it was quite happening. And these were the activities I was involved in: undergraduate research, right from my undergraduate program. I participated in various departments, research programs such as Department of Anatomy, Department of Veterinary Microbiology, Department of Animal Nutrition. I started to present during my undergrad program itself at different conferences and learn new techniques in my undergrad program itself. And then after my graduation in b.v.sc in I got a scholarship to study at the coveted National Dairy Research Institute. I enrolled in the Department of Animal Physiology for my master's program, and it was one of the most best 2 years of my life over there. And the bond that I had shared with my colleagues over there is lifelong over there. So animal physiology is my background. You can say that I have done research and my coursework in animal physiology as major and minor in animal nutrition. So you can club it as a production subject, animal science subject. And my research work was basically in reproductive immunophysiology in the bovines. And thereafter, for a brief period of time, I graduated in 2019 from my master's, and thereafter I worked in Andhra Pradesh, and thereafter I worked in Pondicherry as an assistant faculty over there for a while before moving to States for my PhD career. I had already got admission for my PhD in NDRI, but I got so bored, 2 years over there, and like all your friends are not over there, and so I thought like let's not go for inbreeding over there. So let's do something bold. So I didn't go for the counseling. The day of my counseling was the day I submitted my thesis and took a train back to Mumbai. So that's my story in NDRI. And here, as I said, that for a while, from 2020 to 21, I was on a contract basis as a faculty in the veterinary physiology department of River. It is one of the best campuses I've ever seen. The vet school campus, one of the most beautiful campus, and one of the best faculty and the education structure over there. So over there, I was mostly having a teaching assignment to teach the undergrads, and I was unfortunately there in the COVID time, the first COVID period. I just joined on 18th, and just 2 days after the lockdown was initiated over there, and everything went online. So the courses which I taught over there was the reproductive physiology, lactation, growth, environmental physiology. Apart from the teaching assignment that I had over there, I also had some extension based activities, and I also had the COVID diagnostic duty. Since it was a government vet school and under directly under the administration of Secretary of Pondicherry Animal Husbandry Department, some of the faculty like us were deputed partially at the medical school over there for the diagnostic duty. So my morning half used to go in the vet school, the veterinary campus, and the from afternoon after lunch I used to be at the medical school for the diagnostic duty, which was quite enriching. So here are my some of the colleagues. We were five or six of them, and we used to do mass sample processing for the RT-PCR, and we used to do RT-PCR a lot. The molecular virology was quite enriching. Although I'm from physiology, this was something very new for me. But it's being like, when you are a veterinarian, you easily pick up things uh, because our veterinary program is very intense. The coursework load is so high that we get, it becomes easy for us to pick up molecular stuff or the molecular biology later on. So it was quite enriching over there. A lot of safety issues also had come up at that time, but yeah, we managed. It was good. Okay, and then the heaven broke loose. I got an admit at the University of Connecticut College of Agriculture Animal Science Department for a PhD in animal science when I was still a faculty in River. So over here, my department, as I said, is animal science, but my concentration is just a funny word for specialization. As in India, we have PhD in production subjects, as we call, like PhD in animal nutrition, PhD in veterinary physiology, PhD in livestock production and management, PhD in AGB. But that's not the case over here. In most of the universities, they have an animal science department where all the production faculties are there, like AGB, nutrition, physiology, reproductive physiology, then what else? Poultry science. So you get a collective degree of PhD in animal science. In some of the universities, like in Connecticut over here, they give animal science, but they also give you concentration. So in my department, we have four concentrations. That is concentration in animal nutrition, concentration in reproductive physiology and growth, then concentration in genetics and breeding, and the fourth one is very unique concentration, that is the food microbiology and safety. In India, we don't have food microbiology and safety as a production subject in the animal science, but that is something similar to the LPT. That in LPT we study the meat science, so the meat microbiology comes, and there is also dairy microbiology. So it's combined as the food microbiology and safety. So it's very wonderful, the campus. I'll be definitely sharing you a link if you're interested to explore the Yukon campus and the programs that they are offering. So this is my department, the George White Building, Department of Animal Science. This is the library that we have, the Wilbury building, and this is the my constituent college, that is the College of Agriculture. But although I don't go any of the buildings because my lab is outside my department, so it's as new as for me as for you guys. So I've not been to the College of Agriculture yet. I still have to go. So the mascot for Yukon is the Husky, the dog Jonathan. So let's begin with the admission criteria. I'm just moving fast forward because I want to have a large chunk of our time for the Q&A session. But if you guys feel anything, if you want to ask, please stop me in between or just share your question in the chat box, and I'll be happy to share with you whatever I know. So the admission criteria, basically, the earliest speakers, they must have elaborated at a quite length that we require certain examinations like English proficiency exam results, the GRE results, the recommendation letters, then your official academic transcripts apart from your CV and your application. So this is a common criteria for two streams. In US, you can apply for your PhD or your master's through two routes. First is a program route, that is you directly apply to the department or the university or the program director. You don't need to apply in this particular case. You don't need to search for a faculty. You don't need to send an email to a faculty. You just have to write an official email to the program director, or directly on an official website apply to the university. So after coming, if you get an admit, you do the process, you get visa, you come back to the states. Your advisor will be decided after a certain number of lab rotations. So that is also quite advantageous. You already come to know and have exposure in all the labs in your department, and then you are the one and who mutually decide which lab should I join in after understanding what you want, what are your career prospects in different areas uh, of the department. Like for myself, it is animal science, but we have faculty who are doing research in AGB, who are doing research in reproductive physiology, who are doing research in equine science, who are doing research in growth physiology, who are doing research in lactation, and also who are doing research in food microbiology and meat science separately, and also dairy microbiology. So yes, there are many. So, so this is a program route. So every route has its own advantages, like you can say pros and cons. This one I feel is much more better, the program route. And the faculty route is much more what you can say, it's not easy, it's a bit complicated, and you need to get some luck also in that. So faculty route is that you decide for yourself that hey Atul, I want to do research in animal science, but particularly only in meat science, nothing else. So I'll be writing to professors who are into meat science in the animal science department of various states university, and I'll be, before that I have to study their research, I have to study their literature publications, their papers, and understand what they are working on, and try to find a common link between your passion and their research work. So once you struck at a time, okay, this is something very interesting and this is what I really want to do, and then you write an email, an unofficial email to them, asking that I am such student from this place, and this is my education background, for which you attach your CV, and that you make them understand that you have read their research papers, have understood their research uh, uh, vision. So every faculty in US, they have their vision of what they want to take, where they want to take their research in the coming years, in the next 5 or 10 years, where their research should be heading into what direction. So if you understand that, and if the professor likes that, yes, the kid is really passionate about my research, but how will the professor understand whether the kid is really passionate? For that, you need to read the publications, and you find out certain unique points which you share with the professor, and by that they understand, yes, he has literally read my articles, has a good comprehensive ability. If you are not in the from the same subject, for me it was like I'm from physiology, but now and that too I've done research in the bovines, as NDRI is all about dairy cattle. So dairy cattle reproductive physiology, and here I am working on poultry microbiology. So there is a trans species and also trans discipline jump for me, transition. So over here, it is very difficult, not for the faculty, but also for the student to understand, yes, this is something different, this is something new, this will be like an ABCD when I'll be reading the research articles related to this particular subject. But I really want to go ahead with this. I really want to go for an interdisciplinary, or you can say, yeah, interdisciplinary subject, or you want to become an overall good animal scientist. So back in India, I had much more expertise, or you can say overall understanding of the animal sciences in terms of the ruminants. But here I am understanding animal sciences in terms of poultry science. So when I'll be done with my PhD, I'll be having uh, like um, best of both worlds, like the poultry science and the ruminants, that dairy science. So that's something very interesting, and that's something what the industry also looks for, because in India, not every region has in veterinary dimension. I'm saying that some of the regions will be much more concentrated in the non-ruminants, some of the regions will be much more concentrated in the ruminants, and so it is quite diverse. But whatever your passion is, first understand that what is your passion, where you want to be, and have full faith in yourself. Be bold. I took a bold decision of not taking admission in NDRI, even though it was fully funded. Everyone gets a fellowship, who all get into um, NDRI, and at that time I didn't even had a job. So just took back a train back to Mumbai without job, without secure admission. But somewhere down the line in my heart, I had this thing, desire that yes, somewhere down the line, I will be at a good place, or I will be doing what I really want to do. So here I am now. So the admission criteria pretty brief. So the faculty route, I was, yeah, talking about the faculty route. So once you identify your own strength, your own weakness, what you want to do, then you search. Google is the best friend for searching. The best thing you can search is So there are two things. Some of the faculty have their own websites, their lab website, and if they have a position, they mention on that yes, we have a position, funded position for an MS student or for a PhD student. Some don't have. Some of the university websites also have that yes, this particular faculty is currently accepting students. So that is pretty straightforward, and you can easily go for that. But some of them, like it is not mentioned that whether they accept student or whether they have funding. But one most important thing I would like to share is that in US, if uh, I'll be speaking in general terms for the veterinary graduates only. I don't know about the other. For masters and for PhD, it is always a funded position. So whenever you think as a student, as an Indian vet graduate, never ever think about a financial constraint if you want to study in US. It is always a funded position for your MS as well as for your PhD. So that is a big headache, so that's done for you. Okay, so that should not be a headache for you. Never think about the financial constraints, because it's always a funded position. So just like in India, we have this research agencies like ICR, and then the ICR gives a research project fund to the faculty, and then they have to recruit certain GRFs or SRF onto their project. So it's a similar situation in states. So we have for agriculture we have USDA, for health we have NIH. These are the funding agencies. They fund the projects of the faculty, and once they get the funding, it is within the funding. It is there. The funds are specifically for the students. Over here, they don't hire you as a what do you say, as a GRF. Like GRF in India, on a project basis, it is like a job, but in over here they hire MS or PhD students as JRF. So the nomenclature is a bit different. We over here call it the GRA, that is Graduate Research Assistant. In India, it is GRF, Junior Research Fellow, right? But it's one and the same. But like except barring for IVRI and NDRI, if you're like topmost merit, then you get GRF for your PhD or SRF for your PhD. That's the same situation like in US, but only the nomenclature is different. But in India, like some of the veterinary colleges, they have there is a department of pharmacology, and they have a funded project, and they want to hire a GRF. They won't be putting that GRF for a PhD. That particular GRF they hire would be just working. But things that's not like over here in states. If you have a GRA, he has to be as a student, either MS or a PhD, and he will be working in the same project and also getting his PhD or master's research from the same project. So that is like a salaried job. And over here, for a GRA, that is graduate research assistants, are considered as a partial university employee. So we get a lot of benefits with related to the medical as well as the dental insurance, and yeah, a lot of other benefits are actually there. Like there is a child care support, there is medical dental insurance. There's no housing support as of now. Yeah, there's no. But yes, there is varied advantages, but with that comes a lot of responsibility. In comparison to the Indian scenario for PhD, the US is completely different. It is, the workload is very high. Uh, Sometimes you don't even get time to eat properly. As of now, like for my poultry experiments, I start my day at 7, not every day, but some of the day when there is necropsy, from 7 a.m. in the morning to the next day of 1 a.m. So that's the length of our work schedule. So the first thing I'll let you know is that life is not easy in states. I don't know about the European or the Canadian graduate program. It is expected and it is mandatory that the grad school, so your master's and PhD over here, is called graduate education, which is governed by the graduate school. So there is a graduate school of the university that governs our education system. So the grad school program is always a stressful program. You learn what actually time management is. And if you don't have car, like at the first year students don't have car, they have to rely on the bus service. The public transportation is very poor over here. So all these things you have to make sure. Like I was not told that this will be so hectic, this will be so stressful. But if you are not ready for that, then you have to think again. It's not an easy cakewalk like in NDRI or in IVRI or in any of the PG programs in back in India. At least the student goes at around 8 to 6 or 7, and then he can come back. There is mess, so he doesn't have to cook food. We can cook food only on Saturday, Sundays. Not much of laundry problem, but over here in States, you have to manage your own house, like what our parents used to do. That the household groceries, monthly groceries, you have to pay your bills, you have to uh, do the homework and assignments. The coursework is huge over here. Back in India, it's not like the PhD program is different. In IVRA, Indiera, I know that the coursework is of 1 year and the rest remaining 2-3 years is of PhD research work. And in state universities, it is 1.5 year of coursework and other 1.5 year is research work. But that's not the case in states. The 4 years or 5 years you do all everything is it goes in hand. Like you do course your work, you do your research work right from the first semester, and that goes to the last semester. So there's no clear cut boundary. So that's what is like you have to manage your lab work and also you have to manage your classes. Although there is no attendance over here, but it is expected that you attend each and every class. And if you, because of any medical purpose, you want to miss out, then you have to email the professor over here beforehand or on that day. So that's something very important over here. So the faculty route, I am telling you that you have to apply to the professor. If the faculty feels that, okay, yeah, I should give this kid a chance for an interview, then he'll be having you, sharing with you a link for a formal interview. Informal, you can say, not formal, informal. And don't get stressed in this stage because they won't be asking you some subject matter stuff and all. It will be, general stuff like, how like there will be 4 or 5 basic questions like why do you want to do PhD in US, why do you want to do PhD in my lab, why do you want to do PhD in this particular research area, and let's talk about your research in your master's or your undergraduate program. So he won't be asking, okay, what is this, what is the molecular mechanism of this, the subject matter stuff. They don't ask at that time. So be kind of free in that regard. So and the faculty are pretty flexible, unlike in India. They are pretty outgoing, and um, how you say, they make you very comfortable during the interview. So I was a bit anxious, but when I had an interview on Zoom, or I guess, yeah, something like that. So my professor made me very comfortable and it was quite enjoyable. The best thing is you should enjoy. And as a student, I would suggest you one thing, that affect there is an communication between a faculty and a prospective student. So the faculty will judge whether should I take this student based on certain criterias, based on the communication, like as I said, the topics like why do you want to do PhD, after PhD where do you want to be, what's your career goals. So even the students should adjudge the faculty based on his response. It is very much expected that it should not be a unit. It should be not be a one-sided communication. Even the student, the prospective student, even you guys should come up with many questions. Questions like. What are the research techniques that are you using? How many lab students do you have? PhD students? What's the average duration of PhD or masters in your lab? What kind of internships opportunity are there in your lab later on in your PhD into the for getting a chance into the industry? And is there any collaboration, or how is the environment? How is what are the lab rules? How many times the lab meetings occur in a month? and how is the work schedule and the flexibility of the timings. Some of the professors, they're very flexible over here, like you come whatever time and you do your work. The basic objective is that the work assigned to you should be done by the deadline. So you do it in morning, you do it in midnight, you do it night. Over here the university is open 24 by 7, the labs are open 24 by 7. Some of the professors have restrictive timing like 9 to 5 or 8 to 7. You have to be there. So it depends. So all these questions you need to ask, and at the subconscious level, you need to also understand for yourself whether this particular faculty would be the best faculty for me as an advisor or not. Just like the faculty decides whether this particular student that I'm interviewing would be best in for me, best suit for me in my lab or not. So it should be a kind of a selective criteria from both the sides. So I'm telling you specifically because the Indian veterinary students don't do that. They just go wherever chance they like, wherever they get a chance to study abroad, but don't go for that. Always be selective or choosy into your criteria. For me, I had this criteria that I don't want to work with an old or aged professor. I wanted a young professor as my advisor. That was my basic criteria. That's why I always emailed the young faculty in the university. So that was my basic criteria because I had somewhat experience working with the young faculty and with the senior faculty. So that was my personal criteria. Everyone has a different criteria, like what kind of labs they want to do, how much big lab they want to get into, big in terms of the strength of the students, and which program do you want to get into. So for me, I didn't want to get into the what do you say, the human medicine. I wanted to be in animal science itself, but not in the physiology. I wanted to explore the gut health, that is the poultry gut health, because I've already done the dairy cattle. So these are certain criterias that you would like to work with, and so that's my suggestion for you guys that uh, if you're going through faculty route, you have to do lots and lots of homework. So for me personally, when I was searching for a faculty as an advisor or a position, I had emailed up to more than 100 professors uh, in Canada and as well as in Europe, Germany, and in States. But once I got this particular position, I even heard back from certain of the professors that had written to them earlier. So this is very important, guys. So if for a faculty point of view, I'm saying that if a faculty is receiving email from a student, if he has a funding and if he wants a student, he'll be definitely be interested to at least read your email and check your CV, and if much more interested, then go for an interview with you. But if a faculty is not having a funded position, that means does not have a project, a funded project, does not have money to pay for your salaries, he won't be even checking out your emails. So don't be like, why this particular professors are not replying me back even after 2 weeks. So you have to understand that they don't have a position for you guys. So, and they are also very busy. The professors, everyone is quite busy in academic circles in the states, in the universities over here. So don't feel low or disheartened that if some of the faculties will not reply you back. Some will reply you back saying that I do not have a position as of now, and then you keep on going. But the same faculty who has emailed you that I do not have a position will keep you in mind, and whenever he gets a position, he will come back to you. So for me, it happened twice with a professor from University of Hawaii. So he was also a poultry nutrition professor. I had emailed to him. He didn't have a position at that time, and once I got this position in Connecticut in Yukon, he replied back to me on LinkedIn that, hey Atul, I have a teaching assistantship in my department and I would really like to for you to apply for it so that you can get a fund and for your PhD. So they really keep you in mind. or into their consideration. It's just that they don't have funds at that particular time. And then there was one professor from University of Saskatchewan, Canada. So he didn't even reply back to me. But later on, after 4 months, I got an email from him asking, "Are you still interested in the graduate program in my lab?" Uh, so that's how it is. You should never ever lose your hopes. The best strength as a student, I must say, is hope. Keep on hoping and maintain your hopes. Don't let your hopes down, because someday you just need one moment for the magic to occur. So that's with the faculty route and the program route. So the best part in the faculty route is that already your advisor is fixed, that is your guide is fixed. You don't have to do lab rotations. So your time is saved. You directly have to come here and then get back to start your work, get back to work uh, in your research program. In the program, a lot of time goes into just understanding what you want, what you really like, and getting the advisor uh, on your profile. So I guess it is like the lab rotation is once 1 week per faculty. So if there are like 4 or 5 faculty in the department, then it's like you're losing 2 to 3 months. So in that program, but that's also good. It depends. So there's a lot of variation, but the individual requirements are different for every veterinary student. So I will always suggest that don't think about what others have done. Just understand how they have done, why they have done, in which scenario they have done. But give most priority for yourself, understanding what you want. And even if it is like you have to go against the wave, be bold. Be bold, because that's what is needed in this world right now. So yeah, so once you get an admit, from either of the faculty route, or you get an admit from the program route, you get an admit. So congrats on that. So I'll be so happy that through this program, those students who have attended all this series of program, those who get motivated, apply. Don't get, still apply. Don't get 10 times, 20 times. I did more than 100 times. So, and once you just crack it, you get it. So congrats on that. So there are certain pointers that I would like to share with you, that before admit, this I have already shared with you, that the university faculty research area is what you like. Interviews, I've already shared. Exams, that is GRE and TOEFL. TOEFL is very important, but there is a cheaper alternative, that is Duolingo English test, which I gave because of the COVID. So that's much better than TOEFL and IELTS. About GRE, so GRE back 3 years back, it was like mandatory. Every university in states wanted that, but just a minute, guys. Yeah, but because of the COVID, and many of the universities have now started to realize that there is no relationship with the your GRE results and the success of the student in general, the graduate student, PhD student in their graduate program. That means, for example, if a student is scoring high in their GRE, that does not translate that he'll be publishing more papers in his PhD program. There's no relationship at all. So, and that he'll be like doing hard work, or he'll be working sincerely, honestly in the lab. So there's no indication of such kind of things. So it's just so that's why many of the university department, and plus this COVID hit, so many of the university departments and universities as a whole, they have literally scrapped GRE as a requirement. So which is quite good. I never liked GRE because I never liked math. So but the thing is, when the GRE is not there, then the number of applicants increase exponentially, and the competition also increase. Already there's a lot of competition for a PhD position in states. It's, you compete at a global level. You compete with the Native Americans, but also you compete with the Indians, and also you compete with other countries. Everybody wants to get into the top-notch universities, which are mostly in Europe, Canada, Australia, and in the States. So this is done with the GRE and recommendation letters. You already know it. So application, yeah, I guess this is done. So yeah, in UConn, I would like to tell you that my department necessitated GRE, so I had to give it. But the UConn biomedical science, they had literally scrapped GRE. They said they don't want GRE. Like even if you give them, they won't be considering that GRE for the applicant assessment. So over here, how the application does, I know about my animal science department that once you apply, so if your advisor says that informally that I would really like you to apply formally, then you apply to the university on through an online platform. The university gets the application. The application is received by the graduate school of the university. From the graduate school, your application will go to the animal science department. In the animal science department, there is a committee of graduate education. They will assess your um, what do you say your profile. If they like, they will forward it to the advisor that you want to get, and then if he says yes, then you will get an admit letter. So that's quite intense, and it takes, for me it took 5.5 months, but for some it takes 1 month or 2 months. So consider a basis on 1 to 5.5 months. I had applied in 2020 September. I got my admit letter in February. Yeah, Feb 21. So yes, and even after admit, no professor will tell you that I guarantee you that after you apply you will get it, because it's not just the professor, it is also other committees that check your profile, the departmental committees, the university committees, and everybody has for TOEFL and all, they have a cutoff for a particular score in a particular department for a particular program. So if you don't get, they don't even consider you for the PhD program. And especially for where some of the universities still require GRE, some of the programs still require GRE, so they also have certain cutoffs for that. So once you get an admit, you should celebrate for a week. Then you go for the US visa application. That is another headache for me. All those who came in the spring 21 and like in the COVID times, you start from 2020 to 21. For they, everybody will tell you that getting an university admit for a funded PhD or a funded masters is much more easier than to get a US visa. So many of the students, not just in India but around the globe, they have lost their position because they just couldn't get the US visa on time. Some of the universities directly say that, hey, that if you don't get visa after your admit, and if you're not there in this particular month uh, in the states or in the university, then your admission will be cancelled. Some might say that okay, you can defer for at least for a 1 semester, which I did, but after that you need to be here, come what may. If you're not there, then your admission is cancelled. So after admit, you have to strive really hard. But now, as of now, it's very easy. One of my junior got it because it was all hard because of the COVID period. And one good thing is that if you are into your PhD, funded PhD program, like for the states, it's always funded. So if you are going for a PhD program in states, don't worry about the visa. Your visa will always be accepted. They won't reject. They reject visas only for master students who go on a self-funded program, like MS computer engineering, software engineering, and mostly like engineers, and the basic common trend of masters in states, that is the data science and all that stuff. But yeah, we are quite fortunate enough that for PhD they don't ask much because it is already a funded position. So the visa officer won't care less, and it was, for me it was just two questions: what is animal science, and do you have a funded position? I said yes. then it was just done, like not even 2 minutes for that. But to get an appointment, it took me 4 months. So after the US visa application, in during that time only, you have to do a lot of health screening like TB test, the blood test for the TB. You have to check out for your vaccinations of COVID, and apart from COVID, your childhood vaccinations like rubella, varicella. Then there is this acronym I forgot. Rubella, something is there. Then three, four vaccines which we have all taken, but we don't have records. So they ask for the antibody titer, or you can just sign it from your family doctor, certified that yes, this particular kid has already taken his vaccination shots when he was a child. Then you have to search for a house. That is very important, and the house search should be near the bus line because you don't have a car. The public transport system in US is pretty bad. You'll realize once you come over here. And you, apart from the house search, you also have to search for the roommates. And most important, once you get a time, uh, don't fight in your family, right? Because once you come here, you'll realize how important family members are. Like, you live over here all alone, although you live with your roommates, but your roommates might turn into your family later on. But before that, you feel homesick. It's just the initial days you feel, oh god, I've come to the States, and you'll be enjoying the scenario. And yes, America is quite a beautiful country, but later down the line you will realize, okay, now I'm missing. The homesickness will drop in. And that's my humble request: don't fight in your family once you get an admit, and spend some pretty amazing quality time with your family members. Because it's not like in India or IVR, students go back home whenever they want, or in some vacation, Diwali vacation, Christmas, or New Year, or anything. But over here, students go after at least after 1 year. Some go after 2 years. So that's the what do you say? The duration, and that is a thing. It's like a combination that in states you are trained to work under stressful condition. The stressful condition is that you have to manage your own house. There is no mess for you to get cooked food. The Indian food, you have to cook your own Indian food. You have to buy your groceries yourself from the Indian store. And if you're like vegetarian for me, then fingers crossed. So some of the days, some of not just the days, some of the weeks I've slept hungry because I was so tired that I didn't had strength to even cook at night. So just have water and sleep because you're so tired. But that's how it is. If you love your work, then there is no you don't feel bad, but you just miss the Indian food, the warmth of your family. So it's my humble request. Research is one thing, funding, PhD, everything is there, but the emotional human bond is something you really miss over here. You'll make a lot of friends, not just the Indian friends, you'll make international friends too, but you will miss out your family. So that is one big thing that I want to highlight, because I feel that other speakers might not have highlighted this or might have, but I will still highlight it because I'm going through that phase right now, homesickness. And start of your academics. I said graduate school is very stressful. I couldn't put, like, I actually wanted to put like 4 or 5 times very, or highly, or something to exaggerate, because that's the truth over here. And the success mantra is like what my faculty, my advisor says, that work harder but party harder. Because there were many incidences that your experiments will not work. You will reach your lowest of the lows over here, not just in your lab, but in your whole life in states. So you need to remove those things from your mind. So you need to party harder. Time management is a key. And in PhD, in India, and even for masters is like, I've seen, like in India for the veterinary only, I'm telling you, like everybody gets about 7.5, right? 7.58 is like very common in the state universities. 8.5 is also very common, even if you don't study. But in India, it's pretty tough. but at least students get 8 and 9 for masters. For PhD, it is very easy throughout the country for the veterinary graduates. uh, PhD students don't even talk about what is your GPA, and they don't even think about maintaining that GPA. But over here, GPA is all that matters because your salary depends upon your GPA. If you don't maintain your GPA above 3, then you won't get your funding. Then you don't won't get your salary. So maintaining GPA is very very important. Like the pointer is like in India we have out of 10, over here it is out of 4. So maintaining above 3 is like maintaining above 80 or 85%, and that's not easy. Because over here, like in India, the PhD students, the veterinary PhD students or masters take many courses. They have a separate coursework and separate research work. So, you are able to concentrate your mind on the course studies, but over here you have to juggle both. Research course, although the courses load is less for graduate assistants like me, we just take 2 to 3 courses. I've taken three, but three courses feel like they are like 8 courses for from India point of perspective. So, and you really worry if you don't score much because everything is dependent upon your GPA, apart from your lab work also. So you really have to work hard over here to maintain yourself, and that's how you are trained to think harder, think under stressful conditions, work harder, and also party harder. So, okay, let me see, something popped out. Okay, stop presenting. Yeah. So Q&A session, I'm done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your
Mhm.
views.
I'm
So
done.
if you
Over to
have
you.
any questions,
Yeah.
if you have any questions, you may write in the chat box. Uh,
Let me see the check. Shubham, I hope I've talked something new, not the repetitions of earlier speakers, because I was not getting time to listen to the earlier speakers.
yes, sir, of course, it is new. There is nobody from US and sharing his own experience. These things are
Mhm.
very important, and
Yeah.
they are harsh reality. Some are feeling like sir is talking about
Yeah.
this
It's
stuff.
not the fairy tale over here. It's a harsh reality. That's true.
Getting visa is a trouble for everyone. uh,
Yeah, but not now. Like one of my junior got it so easily. Like I had to uh, sit on that visa thing for at least for 4 months to at least get appointment. But he got very easily because now the COVID thing is reduced. So they are doing it. They are prioritizing the students specifically in India to get to give students the visa. The student visa processing is prioritized above every else kind of visa. In US for the
yeah,
states there are so many types of visa, but student visa is given the utmost priority so that they can attend the university on time.
yes.
So
For
yeah,
US,
that
it
is
is quite good, but for Canada and especially for
yeah.
Germany, I go through the process. It is very difficult.
Yes. So yeah, there are a couple of questions. So Garima
So,
has
sir, I
asked.
will read it for you.
No, it's fine. It's
So,
fine. I can read it.
okay, sir.
Yeah, so this is a very good question, Garima. So if you're in your undergrad, so what I feel is that there are two ways. You're always welcome to apply for masters if you're in your undergrad, and if you're in your masters, you can apply for a PhD. And even if you're in your masters, you can again apply for your masters in states. There's no wrong. There's nothing. Nobody will judge you. Not nobody will ask you questions on that. But the thing is that uh, from the faculty perspective, if you are an undergrad, definitely the faculty will never ever even think or expect for you to have research articles or research publications. But it is always better that, because our degree is 5.5 years now, there's so much of time that you could give uh, to join any of the department you want and participate in their research project, and somewhere down the line just get a last authorship or something. Or you can, even if you don't get a publication, you can just mention that in your CV that, hey, look, I was working as an undergrad researcher in this particular department in my program, and I have worked in this particular program. So that is what is very important. I worked in three departments, and that's what I mentioned, and that's what my advisor liked. That even though I was in undergrad, I had done research, I had participated research. I did not do an independent research. I participated in the departmental research, but nobody will expect you with you that. But although in states they have an undergraduate research office, the students who are motivated and they want to do research, they apply to the labs, and as per their convenience they come attend the lab, and they do some basic experiments so that they get hands-on experience, research experience. And research does not mean bench work, it also means a statistical analysis of the data. So that is also research involvement. So if you're interested in genetics of breeding or statistics, biostatistics, like every department in veterinary, whatever research they do their biostatistic analysis. So if you want to learn that, you can put in your CV that, hey, I have learned SAS, hey, I have learned GraphPad, and that is something very what do you say, very impressive for a faculty to read this in the CV of an undergraduate student um, who's applying for a PhD. So I have a colleague with me. She is from Kerala, and she is a veterinary student. She has directly jumped from BVSNH to PhD. So she's a colleague over here for me, with me. So yes, that is also possible. You can directly jump from BVSNH to your PhD. Thanks to your BVSNH, it is only because of you doing BVSNH, because it is 5.5 years of program. So that's quite intense, and that is what very much recognized in the states and all over the globe. They don't entertain BSc programs of 3 years for even for their masters or even for their PhD, to never they will accept. But yes, even my roommate who is from Solapur, from Maharashtra, he is a B Tech in chemical engineering. Yeah, chemical engineering, and he's doing PhD in material science now, and he's just 23 or 24 years old. So yeah, it's quite amazing. Even when I got to know this, I was thinking why I did my masters in India. Why would not somebody tell me? So it's just a matter of fact that you know the information or you don't know the information. So I will, it's my humble request to all the undergrads. Whenever you get free time, just do Google search, just surf the university websites of not just states, Canadian websites or the European universities website. Check out their admission criteria. You'll stuck on something very in new, and you'll be surprised. Okay, yeah, they're allowing PhD for bachelors too directly, and there's nothing wrong in that. Like, even if you want to come back to India, it's not like, oh god, you did not do your masters and how come did your PhD directly. So that's nothing like that. Okay, so don't expect, the faculty don't expect any work. That is just what do you see, additional cherry on your ice cream, that just to impress the faculty. If you don't have, that's all fine. What the faculty, specifically the undergraduate student, if he's applying for masters, what the faculty look is, how much is your GPA, how much is your TOEFL, Duolingo, or IELTS score. If the program or the university requires GRE, how much is it, and specifically your letter of motivation. I guess I forgot to write in that. Letter of motivation is very, very important, and what you write in your initial email to your professor. This is very, very important, that you think not 10 times, but at least 50 times before you write an email to a single professor, to any professor. You proofread it from different friends, the grammar, everything, and even the research paper. Like for me, if I have to send to a particular professor, I have to at least put 3 days of reading into his research work. Only then I could write to him, because no professor would get impressed just by reading his lab website, or some highlights on his the website of the university about the faculty. They would always expect that you dig deeper and greater and understand comprehensive about his work, and then give some pointers that he would like. Okay, like for me it was something on antimicrobials and meat science. So I came up with different questions onto it, like how you do this, so this signifies, or this indicates that has that the kid has read my publications and he has got some very good questions, right? So that is very important. And applying for masters or phd, that is personally yours. I would recommend you apply for a masters directly over here, because the sooner you come to the states or canada or any european countries or australia, anywhere, like the sooner you get out of the country, go for your abroad education, is the much more better, easy goes for you for your higher education. If you do your masters, you'll suffer it for your masters a bit, that things are new. You undergraduate students don't know research methodology, don't know much of statistics, they don't know about how to read a research article, or they cannot much comprehend a research article. But that's what is for masters. For masters just prepares for your phd. So the what do you say, the technical writing, the scientific writing, the scientific understanding, developing an aptitude for a subject. So that's what you do. Even if you do masters in india, nothing wrong, but I would suggest you get it from with a funded position that comes either from ndri or ivri. And even if you take a subject for your masters in your state university or your ivri ndri, doesn't mean that you have to do phd in that particular subject only. Over here, everything is interdisciplinary, highly welcomed. It's just you'll have to start from the scratch. For me, we studied microbiology, veterinary microbiology in second year, first semester. After that, no, nothing, zero. So for me, I'm like ABCD right now for microbiology over here. Even develop, even if I have to read a reproductive physiology paper and research article, I will read it in 10 to 15, 10 minutes and understand what it is, everything. But if I have to read a food microbiology or poultry microbiology paper, it will take me at least 2 to 3 hours, because I've not developed an aptitude to read that particular subject paper. So it is that intense, right? So be prepared for that, and there's nothing wrong. If your heart says, okay, I want to do masters, a funded masters in your um, abroad, that you should go on. There's nothing wrong in that, and there's nothing wrong that, okay, I want to spend some time, more time with my family, and I want to prepare for my profile for the abroad education while my masters I'm doing it in India. That is also fine. Some of the research work is very good in India, like in some of the state universities and also IVRI and NDRI. Some of the labs are really good, and even the professors have networks with the professor abroad over there. So you love it. You really like, some of the professors have connections, so that's what is important for you to get a position, right? So that will help you a lot. So it depends upon you, where do you want to go and what kind of experience you want. I had a wonderful experience in ndri, um, working on in the dairy cattle, going in at around 7 or 8, running behind the sahiwal cows. So that was wonderful. Right now, I'm just running behind the poultry chickens, but I'm still running behind the animals. So, which is the next question? Is it, yeah? Yeah, of course. Yeah. This question is, that is the PhD or postdoc in other subject area like in biomedical sciences possible for vet students? Yes, very much possible and very much welcomed. Although I've stick to my animal science or our animal science or veterinary science domain, but there are certain, like in Yukon you have the medical college. So they call it the Yukon Health, the medical campus, and they have a biomedical science program there. And there are many faculty over there, and veterinary students will be highly, highly welcomed to apply, and they would be so happy to have you as a veterinary student with the veterinary science, medicine knowledge, and applying. It would be really, really interesting for them because most of the students, basic sciences, pure sciences, they apply over there in the biomedical, but they would really, really love to have students from veterinary background in biomedical. Biomedical, some of the universities like University of Iowa, and the biomedical science program is in the veterinary school. So it just depends. In Yukon, we have biomedical science in medical school. Over there, they have in the veterinary school. So it's just a matter of the subject and discipline. You can go and work. If, for example, if a veterinary pharmacology student who has done masters in veterinary pharmacology wants to get into the human pharmacology, he can get into it, and he'll be so welcomed by the pharmacology department. For example, if a student has done animal nutrition, okay, masters in animal nutrition, and he wants to work in human nutrition but with animal models, he'll be highly welcome. We have one student over here. We have a nutrition science department which is more of human nutrition science department. So we have one student who is a veterinarian from Kerala, and she is a PhD student. She did her masters. She is a veterinary graduate. She did her masters in veterinary microbiology, and she is into the nutrition program right now. So this is a level of interdisciplinary nature. Um, Yeah, about the Duolingo test, which I have given, yes, the Duolingo app you cannot give. That is a learning app. There is a website of Duolingo English test, a proficiency test. You have to register for that. So the best thing is that it is cheaper, of course. But once you buy the test, you can give any time, like any time of the day and night. Like in TOEFL and GRE, they ask you specifically what time, what date. But in Duolingo, anytime. Like if you buy the test now, just next day or next night at 1 a.m. or at the 4 a.m. in the morning over there, you can just give it. You just have to start the test. Like there will be, you have to log in, and there will be a button. You have to start, click and start. And the best thing, other thing is there are a lot of free practice tests for the Duolingo. And Duolingo exam is just like a game. It is just like an online puzzle game for the small kids. They have to improve their vocabulary. There will be different sections, like they'll show you a picture of cat and you just have to say cat. There will be like filling the blanks, passage from a Harry Potter book, and you have to fill in, at, the, beyond, besides, injunctions. And then they will be giving you a topic, speak about your favorite movie. You just have to speak randomly about your favorite movie, and you have to type what they say. So it's very, very easy. But the one thing is, it is timed based. Like they'll give only 30 seconds. So you have to be really quick in typing, and it is adaptive. If you give the answers correct, then the test will be much more difficult during the test. It is adaptive. If you give your initial answers incorrect, the test will become much more easier. So that's how the points will be given to you. So don't feel bad or don't feel worried that it is getting much more tougher and tougher. If it is getting much more complex, the questions, that means you're on the right track and you're scoring well. So that's how the algorithm of Duolingo works. So some guidance regarding ICR-PG exam 2 in animal science. So yeah, you have to really study hard for that. There are certain books for animal science like any scan, and then there is animal science refresher, and also certain animal husbandry books like I forgot that there is this big bundle of animal husbandry ICR textbook. That is one of the best reference for that. And yeah, the best part that you can do is group learning, like study groups, which is very, very common in states. Like if there are undergrads and they have a common goal of cracking ICR, they'll be just doing a group study For me, we used to do group studies like WhatsApp group studies. So because we were at the time of internship, different groups, different friends, all apart. So we used to put questions on the WhatsApp groups, and like this is very important question. This might be asked in your exam, and this might come. So it was just put it, and we used to make our notes. I used to make notes in my own mobile. Uh, in the notes section of your mobile, just put your important notes. What you make, notes making is very very important, and you even get easily your seniors notes. So if you strive harder, speak sweetly with your seniors, you might get lucky and get very good notes. And there are certain websites now, I guess Vetcourse or something. They have really good question banks. So it's getting, I know, I can understand it's getting competitive year by year, the ICR exams, but year by year, you are even getting much more and more study resources to um, check on to. Because earlier we didn't had much, then we just had any scan at our time, and then this animal science refresher had just been published, so not all of us got chance to get it. But now you already have, then there is subject matter books also, like animal physiology MCQs, AGB MCQs, LPM MCQs, and the separate book for that. So those are very important, but mind that all the questions and their answers are not correct, so you have to double check. That is very important pointer from that. And yeah, is ICR exam is just, it doesn't check your actual knowledge. It checks what you remember, how much you can remember. So that's unfortunate, but that's how it is. You have to remember a lot, but like the data and all, but it does not check your comprehension of your veterinary science subject or your comprehension about your animal science subject. It does not. So anything else? Nothing?
I think if there is any question, you may write to us or you can mail directly to the sir. So thanks a lot, sir,
Mm,
for giving your time,
always
especially from
welcome, Shubham.
Thank you so much,
And
sir,
thank you guys for hosting me.
for such an
my father is
amazing.
also saying hi to you, sir.
Oh, I cannot see him.
Uh, so
I guess your
he was
camera is
standing
off.
here. No, no, now he left. He was here, like just turn on the camera.
Okay,
So he
okay.
was saying hi.
So please
He
give
used to
my
remembering
regards
you.
to him. He has
Yes,
helped me, taught me a lot. Like I used to go to the AI center. He used to be there, and he used to teach us a lot of reproductive physiology and veterinary gynecology. So very interesting, because I used to collect
yeah,
a lot of samples, blood samples from the cows coming in heat. So we used to meet often over there in the morning. So please give my regards to him.
sure, sir, sure. He was feeling happy that Saurabh sir and you both are here.
Yeah, and one more very, very important thing is to all the students, those who get admission, make sure that you help others. Like I have helped three to four of my juniors or my colleagues to get in. So because I was helped by my seniors, I was fortunate. I will never forget them. Their gratefulness to help me. I will always be grateful. But you also have to help others. Your colleagues, your juniors, even your seniors. There's nothing wrong in that, and you need to help them not passively but actively. Like if they're not interested in the grad program, let them know, change their hearts, change their minds, but you need to help only those who are worthy of your help, and those you feel that they can, those you feel that they are in the wrong place. Like for me, I felt some of my juniors are in the wrong place, they should not be there, and I pursued actively. So that's what the mission I had in my heart, that once I get admit, I will be actively pursuing others to help them in any way you want. There are certain students who don't share their letter of motivation or letter of recommendation. There's nothing wrong in that. They cannot copy your motivation, they cannot copy your inspiration, they cannot copy your CV. It's just they just want to understand the style of writing, the format and everything. So help them whatever ways you can, help each other. Like, because I was helped by my batchmate, Dr. Nikhil Rao, and by my seniors, Dr. Prashant Kumar, Prashant Kadam. He is in Belgium right now. So you need to help. Only after you help, you will realize the. For example, I was not that much happy when I got admit for myself. When I was so much happy when Saurabh got his admit, or when Nitish Kulkarni got his admit, because I know that how much efforts that Saurabh and Nitish has put, how much efforts I have put running behind them. You feel happy that your efforts, everything hard work that you have done, they are fruitful, and that it is something big if you help and your help gets converted into the actual results. Even if they don't, that's nothing wrong in that. Like, I've helped others, they didn't get the admit, but at least they tried. So never ever get shy from trying. Once you reach a life stage, you'll understand that, okay, I should have tried that time, but I got shy, but the time has gone. At least you try. But first and foremost, you need to make decision that you need to try, that you need to get a PhD, that you need to get a master's abroad. This is a decision that you have to take. Others will try to pursue, people like me will try to pursue if I feel that you should be there. But if you feel, because one person feels that a person feels knows more about himself than any other person. So I might be wrong, but you might be correct for yourself. Okay, I don't want to get PhD or get settled in abroad or something, but that's totally fine. And other thing is that people will try to pursue like me to get into PhD, but at the end it should be your responsibility and your decision to come over here. And whatever happens after coming here, it should be your responsibility. You have no one or nothing to blame on to, that okay, this person told me that, or this is everything is so glitter over here, but it is not. So you cannot blame, because it was your responsibility. We are not kids, we are all about 21. So take a profound decision, well informed decision, talk to many seniors, as many as possible. Make a list. That's what I used to do for every faculty, every program, pros and cons and everything. That really helps you well. So I hope everything is fine. I hope everyone is doing great. Sorry, need not mention over here. But it's just like, this was my mission to at least help two or three students get a position. So that's what I expect from all of you, that if you get, you help them, you help others. Because if you don't help others, then there's no meaning to your life. Because karma gets you. PhD wherever you do, but karma is still behind you. So okay, so I hope everyone enjoyed my talk, and please get back to me if you want to know more. There is Shubham always. He can connect us. Okay, so thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Shubham. It's a great
Yes, sir.
initiative that you have taken. I'm so proud of you. When I was of your age, I didn't even had that kind of aptitude to do such kind of collaborative work. Great work. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir. Actually, my whole team is involved. There are two most.
Yeah, you
Without
and
us
your
there,
whole
we'll be
team,
founder.
it's not easy. I
Uh,
understand it's not easy at this particular level, but somehow you guys did it, and I'm so proud of you guys that at this stage you're doing, because it is not expected and it is something extra which takes a lot of efforts to do it, right? So, and it's not easy. So, but
thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you so much, sir.
I'll take your leave. Okay, bye.
Okay. Bye, sir. So thank you everyone for joining the webinar. So here we conclude our series and hope you had enjoyed a lot. If you had enjoyed, please write us a feedback email that would be beneficial for us. And we are thinking to conduct such more series in future on different topics and have a good day. Bye bye.